Today on our podcast, we are privileged to have Meredith Lombardi from Common App. The Common Application is a not-for-profit member organization committed to the pursuit of access, equity, and integrity in the college admissions process. Over 40 years ago, 15 institutions of higher education got to discover a way for a student to complete one application for many. This Common Application experiment has changed the course of college admissions forever. Now, Common App works with over 800 diverse colleges and universities across the world. More than 1 million students use the Common App every year, and 1/3 of them are first gen. Listen to this, and students from all over the world will submit over 4 million applications. To understand the power of Common App, we have Meredith Lombardi from Common App. She's the Associate Director for Outreach and Education for Common App, where she engages with students and the counseling community to ensure Common App resources are relevant and support college access initiatives. Prior to joining Common App, Meredith worked as a high school counselor in Washington, D.C. and Georgia. Meredith holds a Bachelor's of Business Administration from Emory University and a Master's of Education in School Counseling from the University of Maryland, College Park. Meredith has worked for years in providing students and educators opportunities, and welcome to our podcast.
Great to be with you.
Thank you. So I remember when I was working with students on Common App, and we used to work on Common App when it's just a paper version with students, and it opened a gateway of opportunity for students. It was such a difference because it was easier for them to consider looking at multiple colleges that they may have never thought of before. Some of our listeners may have never heard about Common App, so could you explain to them what it is and what it does?
Sure. So as you mentioned in the introduction, the Common Application has actually been around for over 40 years. It started as an experiment in 1975, where 15 institutions got together to say, we understand that some of the applicants applying to our school are also applying to your school, and could we provide an application platform that would allow them to complete some of their basic information, like their demographics, one time, and then be able to submit it to multiple institutions. 20 years ago, we're actually celebrating 20 years this year, the Common App went online. So it was paper up until 20 years ago, and then it became an online platform. Now it is a place where students can go to complete, again, one college application that then can be sent to any of our member institutions. And this year we are happy that we are fortunate to have over 800 Common App member institutions.
Yeah, that's a huge number. So who were a couple of the first of colleges or institutions who created the Common App so many yees ago?
Sure. So I don't want to pick and choose, so I'll tell you all 15. So we had Amherst, Bowdoin, Carleton, Colgate, Colorado College, Emory, which is my alma mater, Goucher, Vassar, Harvard and Radcliffe, Lafayette, Mills, Oberlin, Princeton, Southern Methodist, and Trinity University.
So those institutions and Common App have really transformed so many lives for students, because one of the things that I love about Common App, especially now, is that students are allowed in baby steps to begin their college applications before senior year. Could you explain to us how this works and why Common App moved in this direction?
Sure. So up until a few years ago, August 1st was always a reset button. And so students couldn't really access the current year's application until after August 1st. One issue that our organization saw was certainly those students who were rising seniors who wanted to get a head start on their application over the summer would start filling out some parts of the application, and then on August 1st would find that all of that information had been lost. So certainly part of it was a need to support students in filling out some of those parts of the application. But really the account rollover, what we call account rollover feature, was designed to allow students to get earlier exposure to the application so that it's not such an overwhelming process where they don't know what kinds of questions colleges are asking. certainly in the past, schools could, print out a paper version of the application to share that with students. But now with account rollover, students can create an account anytime they're ready prior to that point of application. Get a feel for the application system, understand the layout, understand the types of questions being asked, and start to put in some of that information, knowing that, again, they can make edits and they can roll that over from year to year. The key is that even though students can explore the application, we still fully believe that the application process should happen the year that the student's applying. So for high school seniors, in their senior year.
Okay, and the Common App never really stops changing, which I think is also great because you've added some great new resources, especially with financial aid, which is so badly needed, virtual counselors. Can you elaborate more on these features?
Yeah, I think that the organization, you mentioned our mission statement. We are definitely a mission-driven organization committed to that access, equity, and integrity. And college access is a huge piece of our mission. So we have, as you mentioned, included the financial aid resources tab in the application because we know that students are thinking about finances at the same time that they're doing their applications. So we wanted to put the resources right there with them while they're going through the process. On the financial aid tab, they learn more about FAFSA, and there are links there for FAFSA. There are links to the financial aid offices for any of their schools that they have on their list. We also have the integration with ScholarSnap, which is a initiative of the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation to create a platform that scholarship providers can use. That's kind of like a common app for scholarships. And so students can actually link their Common App information directly with ScholarSnap, which is just another great initiative. And then you also mentioned there's virtual advising as well as virtual mentoring. So I'll kind of just elaborate on that. Students who indicate that they qualify for a fee waiver within the Common App are actually given the opportunity to connect with a virtual mentor through our partnership with Strive for College. So that, again, provides them with the ability to connect with someone who they can ask for additional support. And with that relationship, it might be that they need more help. One student may need more help with their essay. Another student may need more help with the financial aid application process, so they can really tailor that relationship to meet their needs. We also, just on our website, have what we call the virtual counselor, which is really a collection of resources of short articles and video clips giving students some little pieces of advice coming from admissions counselors, high school counselors, graduate students, and others in the college admissions space. So those are just a few examples.
Yeah, those resources are so helpful because I know a lot of times students, when they're doing the applications, it's something very new and different regardless of who you are. And sometimes my students would get confused about what is the member page, which allows each college to have a set of their own specific questions that are reset every year on August 1st. Can you let our listeners know how important this feature is and how can they prepare for this section ahead of time since they cannot see the questions until the August 1st reset begins?
Sure. So in the application, there are 5 different tabs. One of the tabs is the Common App tab, which is all of the information for a student that would get sent to any college that they're applying to. And that is the information that rolls over from year to year. The My Colleges tab is where the students answer questions that are specific to the schools that they are applying to. So if a student puts, let's say, 5 schools on their Common App, they would then they would see those 5 schools in an accordion style, and they go there to, as I said, answer the college-specific questions. Some of that is just basic information, like when are you planning to apply? Are you applying under an early decision plan? Are you applying for early action? And then the schools can then custom customize the other questions that they're asking. So some might ask about housing, some might ask about additional scholarships, and then some may have supplemental writing requirements. And that, I think, is really, critical that students have an understanding that there's the personal essay that's part of the Common App, again, for any school that requires that. And then there are these additional writing requirements that some schools may have. So students will find that on the My Colleges tab. To help them navigate that process, their dashboard tab within their application actually shows them a little summary of which schools have those additional writing requirements.
Right. So if a student is interested in a college, and as long as they're researching, investigating the schools, they have ample information available to them once those member questions come up for each of those campuses.
Yep.
Great. And one section that's really exciting now with Common App is that besides it being available for prospective incoming freshmen, it's also a tool for transfer students. So can you let us know about the transfer section and how it works for students considering transferring into a four-year college?
Sure. So the Common App has had the transfer application, and we had over 600 of our members using our transfer application. But this past year, we really did a lot of research and work to better understand the needs of the transfer student population. So the existing Common App transfer application was really just built on top of the first year application, and we knew that the transfer student population is very diverse, made up of not just traditional 4-year to 4-year transfers or 19-year-olds, but there are returning adult learners, there are active military and veterans, working adults, and so part of that review process was to look at how do we meet the needs of this diverse population and make them feel that this application is asking them the questions that they feel relate to their own unique educational pathways. So we spent a year with a transfer advisory committee made up of many of our member institutions, as well as some community colleges, and then other educational leaders within the transfer space. We also partnered with Liaison International, who has a presence and is a leader in the graduate admission space, and they helped us redesign and reimagine the transfer application. So after this year of this committee meeting and trying to determine how do we best reimagine this application process, we launched the Common App for transfer. There were a small group of early adopters that went live with the new application in January 2018. And then in August 2018, any of our Common App members who wanted to use the new Common App for transfer, they all went onto this new platform. So again, August 1st, new Common App for transfer launched. We have over 650 of our members using it. And we're really excited to see how it gets received by transfers. We are hopeful that again the diversity that makes up students transferring from 2-year to 4-year or 4-year to 4-year, or again a returning adult learner, that they find that they can truly share their story and experiences in this new platform.
Yeah, thank you for doing all that hard work, because for a transfer student to have over 600 colleges available for them to apply with one application is a great opportunity for so many of them. So that is fantastic news.
Yeah.
And so when students do work on the Common App, like any type of application, there are going to be oops moments where students need to ask, how can I fix this? I don't know what I did wrong here. Since there's no phone number listed on Common App, how can students get help preparing their application in case, there's no one available to give them help on how to repair it?
Sure. So both in the first